Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Shaman King 2021, episode 15. So let's discuss something real quick before we get into the gist of it. You may have noticed in past reactions, I guess you could say, afterthoughts and pre-thoughts and everything, just the past videos for this series, that I've kind of started to feel a little apathetic towards this series. And it's not out of anything in regards to the show necessarily, although, like I had said, there was that one mini arc with Ren's family that was really rushed and not that well done. But everything else has been great. The problem is, I think, that this series has been going on so long that it's starting to get, I don't know, it's starting to get to that point where it's overwhelming me. And maybe it's just because there's certain series that I've been watching that I really enjoy end up a lot of times being shorter series, like Harley Quinn having what was it, 13 episodes, some shows having 10 or less, and it's like a lot more shows are doing that lately, especially Netflix shows, are doing it where they have a shorter amount of episodes. Hell, even the MCU is doing that with their Disney Plus shows, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki both having only 6 episodes, for example. I don't remember how many WandaVision had. But I think that because this is a longer series, having I think it's 52 episodes or something it's scheduled for, I think it's not so much the series itself that's bogging me down, but the knowledge that this does go on for so long. And part of the same thing had happened with me in regards to that with Digimon Adventure 2020. As you know, we had put that on hold in order to get to this and some other stuff on the schedule, and we would be coming back to that. And so the same kind of thing is happening here, where it's it's starting to get old, I guess you could say, where it's because of my autism, maybe because of my just in general short attention span, I guess you could say. You guys have noticed this on the channel. I've changed channel banners, I've changed logos, I've changed the backgrounds, the borders and everything to the reactions and redirects and everything. I've changed that stuff a lot because my attention span makes me really bored of that stuff if it doesn't change too often. And because I have the option to change it as the channel creator and everything, my mind instantly goes, I need to change this. It's bothering me. I need to change it. And a lot of times, that's why I only do one season of a show at a time. Even if I'm really enjoying it, I won't go into the next season. I'll take a break because I don't want to get bogged down because of these feelings I have towards them. And unfortunately, the same thing is starting to happen with Shaman King. It's while I definitely enjoy this series, I definitely want to see where it goes, I'm starting to get bogged down. I'm starting to feel like it's just becoming too much to where I'm not enjoying it as much as I could be each week, because it's getting to that point where it's I want to get to something else as well. or get back to something else. Um, and it's just affecting me. And with certain series, this will happen quicker or later than others. With Digimon, I think I was in the 30s when I decided to put it on hold, something like that. Um, and with this one, we're only like in the tens, in the teens. So it's like it's just dependent on the series. Now, what does this mean? Well, let's not sugarcoat it or beat around the bush any further. I am putting this series on hold after this episode. I'm not even going to determine it based on how this episode goes, because even if I really enjoy this one, I think it's best before it really starts to affect things to just put it on hold and come back to it. And so, what we're going to do for the time being is we're going to switch between two different shows in this time slot periodically. We'll watch a certain number of episodes, and then we'll go back to the next show, into the other show, watch a certain number, go back to the other one, so on and so forth. This way, we get to both, and it doesn't take as long as it could for either of them. And it doesn't give me that worry about it being too bogged down or anything after too long. Obviously, if it's not apparent, the other show is going to be Digimon Adventure 2020. So next week, we will be getting back to that. Continuing right from where we left off. I'll just have to do a quick recap, like through the episode synopsises of what happened last. We'll watch more of that until I start to feel the same feeling again. And then we'll call it and come back to Shaman King. And so on and so forth. I think this is going to be a good idea for the moment. Because with series like this, I think it's going to be better to kind of pace it out that way, since there's no seasons with these shows. And it's not a show like One Piece, which I so drastically love above pretty much anything else I'm reacting to, that I don't really get bogged down with One Piece, especially with its arcs continuing to change things up and impress me in new ways. But with series like this, with other stuff, it's a lot of times I do need that break. And that's why I tend to prefer seasonal shows rather than these long-lasting ones that just don't really have seasons or set breaks. They kind of have arcs, but sometimes they're not always entirely clear. But yeah, that's the gist of what's happening. I wanted to bring this up right away because I think this is something that needs to be done. Again, so I don't lose interest in this show just because of being bogged down. Because I really do like it. Apart from that one arc, I really do like it. And I'm very interested to see where it goes, considering what we've got going on. But now let's actually talk about Shaman King, now that I've gotten that all out of the way. So, last week we were introduced to Lyserg Dythel, a English-born shaman who is basically trying to get revenge for his parents' deaths. And I noted last time how I thought like his personality seemed very different from the original anime. I went back and checked, and it's not, which really confused me because it's like I have like some kind of false memory in my head or something of how Lyserg was in the original. I swear he was a lot more reserved and like timid and whatnot. Maybe I'm thinking of some other character, but my mind associated that so heavily with Lyserg. So it's like it threw me off so much last time. And the last episode was still good. And I liked what they did with it. It's just it threw me off so much, and then I find out like, no, that's how it is. And it's like, oh, okay. So that also throws me off. Yeah, I'm probably just thinking of someone else. Like, I don't think it's the pink-haired girl. I can't remember her name. I don't think it's her that I'm thinking of. Although she does fit that personality a little more. I definitely don't think it's her. But we'll see if there's another character like that in the future. Um, I don't know what's going to happen next. Like, as I've stated before, like I really don't remember where any of this goes from this point forward, or the order of things or whatnot, because it's been a long time since I saw the original, and I clearly don't remember a lot past the preliminaries. The preliminaries I remembered notably, but everything past that is much more vague to me. I don't remember it as heavily. I remember little tiny bits and pieces here and there. Like I remembered Lyserg as a character, even if I didn't remember his personality. I remember other characters coming up, and that's about it. Little bits and pieces of that kind of stuff. But we'll see where it goes. And I don't know where the split point is. Like I don't know where the series was at in the manga when the original anime came out and they had to deviate from the source material and do an anime original uh, material. I don't know where that actually starts, and I don't know if I'll be able to tell um, just from watching this because I again I don't remember enough. Um, but I am interested to eventually find out once we come back to the series and everything after we watch a little bit of Digimon starting next week. But either way, um, I don't. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next. Lyserg is apparently becoming allied to Yo and them, and they're still headed for the village, the Patch Village. So that's pretty much all I've got to work off of. I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out. We'll see where this goes with this episode. Um, and then we'll come back to the series sometime down the line. In the meantime, though, thank you all so much for tuning in. Let's get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you all so much once again for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. You know, with us putting this series on hold, I'm glad that we're at least leaving off with an episode this damn good. I would, without question, call this one of the best episodes of the series so far. Not even a question. But let's talk about it. Let's break it down by its two parts. Starting with the first part, the continued explanation to Anna of the great Onmyoji. So, 1,000 years in the past, Asakura Hao was this great Onmyoji who kind of created the Asakura clan, and became this like really big deal. But eventually he kind of lost faith in humanity and seemed to start to hate them. And we don't know the exact reason why. But something caused him to hate humanity. And now he has returned using his original name, participating in the Shaman fight with the Spirit of Fire in order to become Shaman King and wipe humanity out. So we know that Yo needs to stop him, and his grandfather tells Anna that one of the only ways to do so, one of the things they need, is this book that has all these secrets. But unbinding the book will release these two Shikigami that Hao has protecting it, which does happen. They unleash the Shikigami, and Anna, being a fucking badass, uh, takes them out with ease because she is just an insanely powerful taco, and like it's really awesome. um, so I'm really glad to see that, and now she's heading over to where Yo is to deliver the book to him and help him out, bringing Tameo with her. Um, and so this first section of the episode definitely went to lengths to explain to us more about who Hao is and kind of his history, as well as to really hammer in the just overall threat level that he gives to this series as our main antagonist. And I think it does a really good job. It really gives us some interesting lore and makes us really, really invested in finding out more about Hao, as well as seeing him eventually defeated by Yo. But the second part of this episode is where it really shined for me. Well, the first part was fantastic, and I loved what it set up. This second part is what really made this one of my favorite episodes of this series. Possibly my number one favorites, but I would actually have to look back on every episode and really determine that. So while traveling through the mountains with the group, Horo Horo decides to stay a little longer and snowboard. He notes how cute Lyserg's guardian spirit Morphine is, which makes Kororo jealous. And so while Horo Horo is snowboarding, Kororo leaves him, and it causes Horo Horo to have a massive accident. So while the others have arrived in town, Horo Horo has been unconscious for 3 days, both of his legs broken after that accident, and Kororo having left him. He's rescued by this park ranger, who he finds out this story from about this bear named Apollo, who as a cub was hit with a shotgun blast in one of its eyes, causing this notable pattern, as well as the fact that it does not trust humans at all, not even her, and she helped raise it from a cub. And so we see Horo Horo go out to confront it to try and help it. She comes in and she sees him helping, and she even sees them making progress with Apollo actually starting to like Horo Horo after batting him around a bit, but seeing his unwavering spirit as well as his desire to actually help with nature. But some poachers come in and fuck everything up. They shoot and kill Apollo, and at first Horo Horo isn't as upset about it. But when he finds out that they did so for fun and aren't even planning on using Apollo's body for food or materials or anything, he gets pissed. And he attacks them. He doesn't kill them, but he attacks them, and it allows the park ranger to arrest them for poaching. And it's at this point that we see how he's struggling with his beliefs compared to his feelings. His beliefs on survival of the strongest and everything, and how the strong survive against in compared to the weak and everything, and how that's just how nature is, compared to his feelings on legitimately feeling sad about Apollo's death, and the anger he felt when he found out that those poachers didn't even plan to do anything with it. And we see, even the park ranger at the end understands that it's while he believes this stuff about survival of the fittest, it doesn't get any easier for him. It's still a hard thing for him to swallow, and because he has emotions, because he cares about nature so much, with his huge important dream being to restore the butterbur fields for the spirits. He Horo is definitely, out of our main group, the one most in tune with nature. And I think that because of this, this was the perfect story for him. Bringing in the ideas of survival of the fittest, bringing in the ideas of hunting for sport versus hunting for food and all of that. It's like this is really a good topic to cover with his character. And so my thoughts on it is pretty much the same as Horo's. If you are hunting for food or like using the materials or anything, hunting is okay as long as you are going to use the animal that you hunt. If you are going to use it for food to help, survive, use it for tools to help continue to survive, stuff like that. Like a lot, like Native Americans have done, using all parts of the animals to respect them, to show reverence for them and for nature. And we see here that Horo, just like myself, is against the idea of hunting for fun, of hunting for sport, poaching just for the sake of basically killing animals. That it's wrong, that it's disrespectful and disgusting, and it is. I am very much against trophy hunting. I think trophy hunting, I think hunting for sport is extremely, extremely bad. It's wrong. It's just morally and ethically wrong to kill animals just for the fun of it. Again, if you're hunting for food, like legitimately to feed yourself and others, then that's fine. Because that's literally hunting to survive. And the same kind of goes with using the animals for tools or using their furs or whatnot, because that's still using them for valid purposes as part of survival and whatnot, as part of just like improving the lives of yourself and others. And that's okay. But when you're just killing for sport, like all these people who put up like deer heads on the wall and shit or whatnot, things like that, turn the bear skins into rugs just to show off that they killed a bear. It's like, that's fucked up. That's really fucked up. And I'm glad to see that Horo is definitely on that side of things. And it makes sense that he would be. Like I said, with him being so in tune with nature and everything. And the emotions of this episode really like bleeds through into the viewer. Like you feel the anger when the poachers kill Apollo. You feel upset about that. And then when you find out that they did so just for fun, it's like, oh, the blood starts boiling. You feel that anger. But like just like Horo, you also feel sorrow. That's why I chose that specific shot for my thumbnail. Like the instant I saw that combination of anger but also sorrow with the tears falling from his eyes, I knew that was going to be the thumbnail. Because it's such a powerful shot. It explains his emotions at that moment perfectly and the emotions of me as the viewer. And I think it was just a really fantastic shot. And I'm sure it's probably the same in the manga, or at least very similar. So I have to give the original creator the credit for that, but definitely the animators and whatnot for really making it look that damn good in this series. I just really, really like this episode. I like the messages behind it. I love Horo's character arc in it. Also, let's just talk about the fact of how badass Horo is in this. He's doing all of this with two broken legs. Both of his legs are broken in casts, and he's just like, fuck it. Puts on new clothes, walks out into the snow, and confronts a bear, and then attacks some poachers after they be just absolute shitbags with two broken legs. And now other injuries sustained from when the bear swatted him around a little bit. It's like, dude, dude. One, that's probably not a good idea, but two, it's still fucking badass. And it's like, you're kind of rising up in my favorite characters right now. Which is kind of funny because in the original anime, like when I originally like watched it on TV and stuff when I was younger, I wasn't that big a fan of Horo. Like I don't remember a lot, but I do remember that he was not my favorite character. I liked Yo, I liked Wooden Sword Ryu, I liked Faust, I liked Anna, but he was one of my lesser favorite characters. Let's be honest. But now he's actually rising to one of my favorites in this reboot, and I'm really actually excited for that. I like it when characters can surprise me like that. When characters can just impress me enough that they actually rise up to become one of my favorites. There's been quite a lot of characters throughout anime and cartoons that have done that. That I would never have thought would be one of my favorite characters. Amity in the Owl House, Okiku in One Piece. Characters, it's like, oh yeah, I like them, but it's like I never expected them to become one of my up there with my favorites. And it's just like I really do like that when that happens, though. But like I said, this was a fantastic way to go on to break with this series. Just cutting things here, going on a break, and coming back to this later. I think this was a good episode to end with because it leaves a very positive impact on me as the viewer. So that when I come back to it, I will be excited to see more. Whenever I do this with a series, I put it on hold for whatever reason. I want the last episode I watched to be impressive, to excite me, because it always makes that eventual return to it that much more, well, exciting. It makes it builds up that excitement as I'm waiting to eventually come back to it. So I really think this was a really good point to call this and to determine to take a break here. I had no idea this episode was going to be this damn good, but I'm so happy it was because that means we can get excited for coming back to it after we watch a bit of Digimon. So yeah, like I said, we will be getting to Digimon Adventure 2020 again, returning to that starting next week, and then we will come back to Shaman King 20. Did I say Digimon Adventure 2021? Digimon Adventure 2020, and we will be coming back to Shaman King 2021 sometime in the future. I don't know exactly when, but whenever I end up feeling kind of bogged down by Digimon again. But I am excited to get back to more Digimon. It's been quite a while. And I'm excited to hear what you guys thought in the comments below about this episode of Shaman King that we are leaving off on for the time being. What did you think of Horo's philosophies and ideals regarding nature and the killing of animals, especially? What did you think of the lore we found out about How? And that Anna is now going to join Yo while delivering this book to him. And what do you think is in that package that Yo's grandfather sent him? Because we don't actually know what's in that. Tell me your thoughts on all of that and more in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.